I have to take a trip down memory lane.
If you're hearing our voices, it means it's time for It's This Meets That, the podcast where we watch worst movies from trailer to end credits, scene by scene, so you don't have to, but maybe you should. I'm Russ.
I'm Jared. That's my Christian Slater.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. He does a lot of breathing.
I have to.
You notice how much he does a lot of breathing.
More than the average person.
Yeah, and like he's like extra breaths he's doing, like especially when he's acting. It's just like a lot of. All right, Christian, let's go easy.
It's probably all the drinking and cocaine.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's true.
Shout out to Christian Slater. If you want to be on the podcast, fuck you. Send us an email.
Yeah, love Christian Slater. It's been a while since you gave the old FU bomb to someone while inviting him on. So
yeah, right.
Speaking of memory lane, it's been a long time.
And this video game is like good memories for me too. So
that's true. It all
works on a lot of angles.
It all connects together. Okay, so we're back with our full breakdown of Alone in the Dark, the 2005
that's right.
action horror movie.
Don't call it that.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. What, a movie?
Movie. Just say movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that. It's just a thing.
It's a movie for sure.
Yeah.
Feature length movie.
Well, you want to recap what this film is about?
Yeah, in case you didn't listen to Trailer Trash, which go do that if you haven't. But this is about a detective of the paranormal slowly unravels mysterious events with deadly results.
Still not bad. I mean, it's still on it, right?
Yeah.
He's a detective of the paranormal. And
it does slowly.
Slowly.
It does slowly.
Very slowly unravels. For a detective, he asks an awful lot of questions about what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's just good detecting.
Is that though? I don't know. Like, I guess maybe.
You got to ask questions.
That's true. How do we do for...
I wouldn't call any of the events mysterious, though, because of the amount of exposition.
Oh, my God. There is no mystery in this movie at all.
That's right.
Deadly results, yes.
Definitely some people died.
Yeah, definitely some people died, but...
Not enough.
Not enough. Yeah, everyone needed to die. Well, yeah.
Well,
yeah. Who knows? How do we do with our prognostications / expectations?
I still think the door is open for this to be the White Noise prequel.
Yes, that's right. That's where we went.
So
yeah, I mean, pretty open ended,
right? Room to grow.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want some quick info on this?
Yeah, give it to me.
So this is directed by I know I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly, but I don't care. I call him Ubol. Ubol. Was it Uwe? Uwe. Yeah,
I had a friend in college. German, Actually, she was from Germany, named Ute, and Ute.
Yeah.
So, okay. Same principle. Uwe.
Yeah.
Ute, tomato.
He's not. He's a character, and I don't know why he gets to continue to make movies. He's not good.
They're all self-funded, dude. That's why.
Oh, right. Because that's right.
That BG Cole or whatever.
That's right.
That's his company.
That's his. Yeah. So he's done movies. If you don't know who he is, he's done movies like Blood Rain, which was a video game adaptation. Was absolutely terrible. He did Rampage. He did something on Wall Street, and then.
Speaking of Rampage and speaking of him, where does he get money from? Have you ever seen the video of him berating his fans on YouTube?
That's great.
Like right around 2014, 2015, when he's like trying to fund Rampage 3, he was like, fuck you to all my supposed fans for like not spending, like not kickstartering my Rampage 3 dreams, which then he made anyway the next year. So it all worked out.
So, I mean, if you don't know who he is, he's big in like making these kind of schlocky, almost B movie, terrible things, right?
And video games, apparently.
Yeah, he did Far Cry. Right? I think he directed Far Cry movie. He did Blood Rain, and he did this one. So
Rampage is a video game too. Like these are all video game movies.
Yeah. Well, it's not the Rampage. It's not the one where like you plays the monsters and bash buildings. He didn't do that.
Not?
One. No.
Oh,
different Rampage.
Why would you name it Rampage?
Well, for that exact reason, right? Get those clicks.
Especially if you're Uwe Boll, like you're known for video game movies. Why wouldn't you? I'm so mad.
No, he makes very just shitty movies. All right, so screenwriters, we have 3 attached to this. We have Ilan Mastai. He not much, but he did a bunch of episodes of This Is Us, which is a TV show which I know is really popular.
How many episodes? Like a lot of episodes?
I don't know, like a handful. I'm not going to look it up, but yeah, enough
to be known for that.
Yes, yes. The Samaritan, which I know of, haven't seen it. And a bunch of other stuff that doesn't look good.
Huh.
Michael Roche. And he basically wrote all, like my note is like, he wrote all the shitty movies that U-Bowl made.
Yeah.
And then Peter Shearer, who did Alone in the Dark 2, House of the Dead 2, Far Cry. So a bunch of like movies that U-Bowl has done as well. So
interesting.
A lot of sequels.
I don't know if you had this as a fast fact, but they recast the main character for Alone in the Dark 2, right?
I did not know that.
It's like a totally different movie. Like they just like rebooted it. They were like, well, all right, let's make it about witch hunting, which is like not and let's recast. Christian Slater was like, I want nothing to do with this project.
I'm done. I'm out on this one. Yeah.
And Tara Reid's not in it either. There's like no one from the original cast in the new one. The new one.
Yeah. I guess but why then it's not really a sequel if no one whatever.
Nope. So why call it Alone in the Dark 2? Great question.
But were the characters the same? Like they had Edward Carnaby and like Carnaby or whatever?
Only Edward Carnaby. And like I said, it's about like witch hunting. So it's like not even the same universe, really.
Yeah. What is happening? Oh, paranormal activity, you know?
Well, yeah, but the Alone in the Dark stuff is supposed to be about this, like the world of darkness kind of thing. Like they did get that kind of right.
Kind of. Yeah, it was very dark and I couldn't see anything. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. But anyway,
not a lot of loneliness though in the dark. Everyone was with somebody. All right, so who's in this movie? Who's hanging out in the dark? All right, who's in this movie? So yeah, Christian Slater, big fan.
Yep.
He plays Edward Carnby, who is from the video game, right? That character is.
Yes.
Tara Reid, who plays Aline Cedric.
Yep. Who's also a character in one of the games.
How many of the games did you play? I know of the game. I remember being on Atari, but I never played any of them. So
yeah, I mostly played the first one on DOS, and then I did play the one that came out for PlayStation and PC and Dreamcast, I think.
Yeah, no, it was like it's been all over the place.
Early 2000s, whenever that was, late 90s, early 2000s. But other than that, I haven't played too much. And I think Aline was the character in that one, and she's like, it's kind of the same character, but not at all romantically interested in.
Yeah, that was added for this movie.
Yes.
There's a new one coming. There's a new Alone in the Dark coming for PS5.
That's right. We were talking about that before we recorded Trailer Trash. I'm super stoked.
In January 2024. So I don't know.
It looks like they're going to kind of remake the original game too, which
that's it. Yeah.
Super fun.
I think the new one that's coming is like a quote unquote reimagining of the original game. So that could be kind of cool. So I'm into it. I'd check it out
for sure.
I don't have a PS5, but if anyone wants to buy us a PS5, hit us up.
Yeah, that would be great. I don't have one either. Yeah, buy us both a PS5.
Yeah, right. Why not?
Right, listeners. Come on.
Do I hear a Kickstarter? Yeah.
But I think those are the only two characters that are from the video game.
Okay.
As far as I can tell.
So then who else we got here? We got Stephen Dorff, who's Commander Burke. We got Frank C. Turner as Sam Fisher. Not the Sam Fisher from the video games there, but Professor.
Or Fisher Price fame.
Matthew Walker plays Professor Lionel Hudgens.
Yep, not a character either.
Our villain. And then Malcolm Scott plays the delivery guy. The real hero of this movie.
Wait, the guy at the beginning?
The delivery guy who drops off the box and has like that really weird interaction with the security guard. And it's like lasts for way too long. And it looks like they're about to start laughing in the middle of the scene. They just like left it.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah. It's funny. I picked him out and then I watched the movie. I picked him out first and I watched the movie. Like, yep, nailed it. Delivery guy. So production, all this numbers and stuff. You want some numbers? Mm-hmm. Worldwide, this made $10.5 million.
I mean, that's not that bad because that's like well over 2,500 fanatics.
Oh, I know, it's so much. It was pretty much split domestic 5.1 and international 5.4 on a budget of 20 million. So not a moneymaker.
Whoops.
Yeah. And Rotten Tomatoes, this is 1%. And 11% on the critic side. So yeah, there you go.
Horrible movie.
Horrible. All right, fast facts. We're moving along. You want some fast facts, motherfucker?
Yeah, fact me, daddy.
Okay. All right. The lengthy opening text crawl was added after numerous test audience members said they were confused by the plot.
No boy.
Now, when they say lengthy, I had pulled this up and then I watched the movie. I don't think lengthy is the correct word. It is. It's more than lengthy.
Well, it's long.
Yeah. What's
double lengthy?
Yeah, what's longer than lengthy? What's a word for
even lengthier?
Even lengthier. But I'm also, who's the test audience that doesn't, how are you confused by the plot? Like, it's not.
There's so much exposition in the rest of the movie.
In the opening, like the opening crawl is literally explained 5 times throughout the movie. Like they say,
yes.
Like, okay. So who are you showing?
Almost the exact words.
Children? Idiots?
Illiterate people. Yeah, I don't know.
After execs read the green draft of the shooting script, the film got an additional $10 million. You've Bowl there poured the money into special effects. I don't know if poured is the correct word, but sure.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand what executive was like, yeah, here's another $10 million.
They were like, Uva baby.
Baby.
The script, money. Here's an extra 10 mil. What? Who said that?
Fired. He doesn't work anymore.
Nameless execs here.
Yeah. Okay. Every piece of body armor worn by the various extra foot soldiers, the 713 Bureau there, during major battle scenes is paintball body protection made by JT USA.
Oh, well, that'll keep you safe.
And it shows.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Could be, though.
Could be.
Uwe Boll stated on various occasions that he regretted having Tara Reid in the film.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to that. I'm going to jump down here.
Poor Tara Reid.
Yeah, poor Tara Reid. So he was kind of a jerk about this whole situation here. So Tara Reid had a no nudity clause in her contract at the time of production.
Seems reasonable.
They made it clear to director Uwe Boll that she will not show any nudity for the film. He tried to change her mind and pressure her to get nude for the sex scene between her and Christian Slater anyway, which didn't happen in the movie. There was no.
I was gonna say there was no sex scene. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
Maybe in like the DVD, like maybe there's an extended version because there is like a version where like I guess it's like a different ending. But anyways, with Reid still refusing, which caused friction between the two for the rest of the production. On the DVD and Blu-ray commentary, Bull remarked about how he wished he'd have gotten a European actress for the part instead, as they're not so uptight about getting nude for movies.
God,
Uwe Boll, come on, dude. Grow up.
Gross.
It was named the worst film of 2005 by the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
Yep, that makes sense.
That tracks. Uwe Boll originally wanted, you ready for this? Christian Bale, the Batman, Christian Bale.
Oh boy.
And Jessica Alba for the leads.
What?
Yeah, which is which now thinking Jessica Alba, and then the next fast fact here. So the next one is Tara Reid's casting as archaeologist Aline Cedric received criticism upon announcement, as Reid had been best known for playing ditzy party girl characters prior and is now supposed to play an intelligent archaeologist. Uwe Boll anticipated the criticism and had Reid wear her hair in a bun along with glasses and make her look quote unquote smarter for the part. Okay.
I don't think she looks dumb. Like,
yeah,
sure,
no.
She's played that in other movies, but like,
yeah,
I mean, she were a better actor.
Definitely, yeah, she was definitely typecast for being like the ditzy, whatever. So sure, that carries over, but you also need to be a better actor,
right? It's not the like if she could have played the archaeologist better. It wasn't because she looked stupid.
Yeah. Upon release, the film quickly earned a reputation as one of the worst films ever made, and made history as both the lowest rated video game movie and Uwe Boll's film on Rotten Tomatoes of all time, with an abysmal 1% rating, which we just said. So
checks out.
Nuclear Blast record label.
Okay, not familiar.
Spent $30,000 on the soundtrack rights to promote their bands.
Smart.
Yeah.
This is where Uwe Boll gets money, dude.
Like, what are you doing? Why is this happening? Yeah. Edward Carnby and Aline Cedric weren't romantically involved in video games, which I think we said. For this film adaptation, they were made into a couple, which...
Yeah, they're definitely... Like, Aline is like a... it's basically the same character, like an archaeologist who specializes in like the Akbani... Akbani, whatever it was.
Akbani.
Like people, yada, yada. And like, they get dropped on an island basically in the game. They don't know each other. They're like meeting each other for the first time off of Boston, like near Boston.
Yeah.
And then they have to just like survive. Basically, you like pick a character and you go. She does puzzles and he does the action.
Yeah. That makes sense, right? Which kind of ties into the last fast fact here. It's loosely based on the video game series of the same name, while some plot elements and characters are taken from the 2001 game Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare.
That's what it's called. That's what I was.
Yeah. The plot of the film adaptation is mostly an original story. There was also another fast fact here. I didn't include it, but that the original draft of the script apparently was very, very closely tied to the game.
Oh.
And then
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. Uwe Boll there came in and was like, nah.
Ugh. Man.
Yeah.
Interesting. 2 extra awards fast facts for you. I don't know if you saw Tara Reid did win a Razzie for
I was
worst
gonna say a
actress.
Razzie, yeah.
Yep. And for some reason, this like shouldn't be a thing, but it has the Guinness World Record for like lowest rated, lowest grossing video game adaptation movie, which I was like, why is there a Guinness record for that?
Jesus Christ.
But you can find it on the Guinness website for some reason.
It's probably also got the Guinness World Record for the longest opening scrawl in any film of all time.
It's a couple of Star Wars, I think, that are longer.
You think so? At least those are like actually make sense. This is just
yeah. They're there to fill you in on information that's not explained in the rest of the movie.
Right.
Generally.
Kind of set you up, and then
right.
Jesus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to Hollywood pitch me, motherfucker?
Yeah. Do I ever?
I can't wait. This is gonna be fun.
So I went a little bit low hanging fruit, kind of, but
yeah, that's all right.
Sometimes you got to do it. So it's obviously Lara Croft Tomb Raider meets I Am Legend. So Lara Croft Tomb Raider, that's the one with Angelina Jolie from whatever year that was, 2001 or
yeah, somewhere around there.
Sure. Famously bad movie game adaptation kind of situation here, right? But made a bucket of money. So there's one difference, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's
like terrible movie, but made a pile of money. So
yeah, so let's make
Angelina Jolie. Bankable.
Who knew?
Both movies have like some kind of questionable conspiracy stuff.
Yep.
So there's like the Illuminati and like that whole thing in Tomb Raider, and this one has like at the very end they kind of just throw it. They're like, actually, this government agency is the one who created the monsters
the entire time. Like what? Why would you?
That's not. God damn it. So that's horrible. Both movies have lots of like dark scenes where there's like a bunch of guns being shot and you can't really tell what's going on and it doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Both teams have like an unexpected team up with your enemy, right? In Tomb Raider, Daniel Craig.
That's right.
It's like the other treasure hunter guy.
Yep.
This one's Steven Dorff, right?
Yeah. Burke. Yeah. Commander Burke.
Like,
kind of. Yeah.
They hate each other at the beginning, but now they're like best friends.
Yep. I got one connected to that too for mine. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. No, I do too. Well, in that both of them should have died because somehow Burke ends up living at the end of this one after he explodes himself.
Yeah, which makes no sense because all he does like he comes out of the rubble and he's like, ugh, and then that's it. And we have no idea what else happens to him. He's just that's it.
Yep.
Like,
so stupid. And Daniel Craig's character in Tomb Raider does die and then gets resurrected by Lara Croft at the end, which is also stupid.
It's so ridiculous. I forgot about that movie entirely.
And then at the end, they both kind of decide that it's better to destroy this priceless powerful artifact rather than letting it be used for evil. And
right.
It's like the triangle or something stupid in Tomb Raider.
God,
it's literally called like the triangle.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's not a triangle, but it's a little round thing that they're like, whatever.
The artifacts, the Akbani, whatever thing.
Stupid. So meets I Am Legend.
I'm going to throw in one more thing I got one more thing for you.
Please.
I don't know if did you say this? Lara Croft, she's kind of like an archaeologist digging up like artifacts and stuff.
I didn't.
In the video game, you literally collect artifacts. And
that's right.
This movie, you got a bunch of artifacts that they're looking for. Literally treasure hunters in a way.
Great point.
So,
yeah. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Great call.
Carry on.
So meets I Am Legend because
you love that movie. You love that movie.
I do. I'm a sucker for Will Smith.
Yeah.
7 pounds, dude. Famously awful, but I loved it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. Will Smith rips.
And slaps.
I will not be persuaded.
He slaps too.
That's right. Good one. I stand with Will Smith.
Low hanging fruit. Just saying.
I Am Legend. Great movie. Terrible movie, but famously also strayed from the source material a lot, which I think we talked about on the podcast at some point, probably even.
Oh yeah, you bring us up every 6 months.
Yeah, that's right. Probably that makes sense. Listeners, tell me the last time I brought up I Am Legend, please. And if you don't remember, great, because we got a bunch of new listeners, so you're welcome. I'm going to talk about I Am Legend again.
Make it happen.
So more focused on the differences for the video game for Alone in the Dark, because that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So I Am Legend, they changed things into, they were vampires in the book, and in the movie they're just kind of like spooky monsters.
Yes.
Which is stupid. And in the book, he's like an alcoholic, crazy person who just like runs around killing vampires all day long, and they can talk to him, and like he still murders them. Like they're people, like they're just people.
I feel like I need to read the book. I feel like I need to read the book.
Oh, dude, the book is wild.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the book, that's the whole premise is like the I Am Legend bit makes way more sense, because he gets captured and put in vampire prison by the other vampires.
Okay.
And they're like gonna put him to death because he's killed so many of their people.
Their people, yeah.
And he's like, wait, he's like, I'm the myth now. Like, we used to talk about vampires killing people, and like now I'm the person that killed all the vampires. And
he's the
new
legend.
Society.
He's the legend.
Yeah. The new Society of Vampires, which is the rest of the world now. Like, I'm the odd guy out. Yeah. Nuts. It's awesome. Anyway, so in this one, like, Edward Carnby is not some like government agent badass character in the video games. He's like just a dude. Yeah. He's a paranormal investigator, but other than that, he has like no like, they give him like skills, powers in this movie.
Yeah, he could fight, he could do all sorts of stuff, and he had a trench coat.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. And they're like, oh yeah, the government's like paranormal investigation bureau, and you're like, that's not a thing.
Come on. 717.
He's just like a weirdo independent paranormal investigator in the video game.
In the video game,
more sense.
Is 713 a thing in the video game?
No, not at all. Completely made up.
What?
Yes. Like, the movie just like made up everything. Kind of like I Am Legend. That's why I picked it, because I was like, oh, it's so far deviated from.
Yeah. A great way to piss off fans is to take the source material and then completely change it.
Yes. Like, other than the character being named Edward Carnby, there's like,
that's it.
Not much else there. So what we already talked about, Aline not being a love interest.
Yeah.
The monsters totally different. They're like still kind of like Geiger-y in terms of
HR
like
Geiger,
alien
definitely
looking.
Yeah, alien / Doc Ock with the tentacle arms.
Yeah, but in the video game they're like way scarier. Yeah. In my opinion, and they're like, there's like a bunch of different kinds. Like, it's more like a Resident Evil where there's like 6 or 7 different kinds of monsters.
Yeah, this one they had like just the one kind of little, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, they're all the same thing.
Little like dog thing.
Yeah.
Because they're not created by this like 713 agency that doesn't exist in the video game. Like, there is like this like world of darkness that like lives alongside our world and is like since the dawn of time kind of thing. Like, it's not like, it's way more supernatural than it is this one, where they're like, oh, the government created these secret monsters. There's no like orphanage. Like, all of his entire backstory is made up for the movie. So like,
really?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I guess, okay.
There's none of that. He wasn't like experimented on as a kid. Like, the bit where he's also got like the monster inside him, like all of that completely made up.
Why? Just stick with the game. Like, it's not that hard. This is like a layup. Just grab what the game is and just,
Yes, exactly. And like the Hudgens character, which is super important in the movie, not a character at all. There's like the main villain in the game is a character, Alan Morton, who's like kind of similar in that he's like a scientist guy who's trying to somehow unlock the gate to the world of darkness. He's like, this way.
Yeah, so that's like, basically the same. But why not just call him the same? Why not just call him Alan?
Right.
Like, what?
Call him Alan Morton.
Like,
that's a character.
Like, it's
maddening.
It's written for you. Just
yes, so stupid. And then I think the only other thing was like the monsters that I was gonna say similarity wise, the monsters are in I Am Legend and in this movie are both like affected by light. Remember?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
And then they both movies kind of end with like a grenade explosion thing that does way more damage than it should.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And I was going to say our honorable mention / plug for us to Artemis Fowl. So listen to those episodes if you want to hear me be disappointed again by another thing that changed the source material too much that I love.
Go check it out. Pure disappointment in that one.
So what do you got?
I'm going. It's Gleaming the Cube meets 28 Days Later.
I've never heard of Gleaming the Cube until just now.
It's like it's a classic skateboarding 1980s film with
nice
Christian Slater.
Sick.
So the general plot of Gleaming the Cube is that his adopted Vietnamese brother is murdered when he uncovers like some illegal arms deal going through some Vietnamese like whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay, sounds convoluted.
Yeah. So when he gets murdered, his Christian Slater's character goes on this investigation. So much like this movie, Christian Slater kind of doing an investigation, trying to figure things out, right? Something connected to his past too, right? So his brother, they grew up together. In Gleaming the Cube, Christian Slater's character, he's a skateboarder, right? And it's like 1980s, late 80s. So he's like this loner kind of cool kid, dresses a little, alternative.
Trench coat?
Yeah, no trench coat, but kind of wears things that most common people don't wear. This movie, he's kind of the loner guy, right? He's the one who got booted from 713 Bureau. He wears a trench coat. Like, who wears a trench coat?
Don't wear trench coats.
No, Gambit and
like a big duster.
Yeah, it's like it just Gambit does. So I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense.
Gleaming the Cube, Christian Slater, his character gets like his reckless behavior gets him in trouble. He doesn't questions authority. That's his whole thing. Kind of like this movie. Yep. Christian Slater again, kind of like doesn't want to fall on with 713. I think his reckless behavior kind of got him booted from the agency, if I remember correctly.
Sure does.
Gleaming the Cube, movie about bros. In that movie, there's Christian Slater, right, and he's like anti-authority, and then there's a cop who doesn't believe him, like, oh, your brother got killed, whatever. Kind of like this movie, we got Burke, who's they kind of square off and are against each other, but then towards the end of the movie he believes him and they become bros and they solve the case, right?
Yep.
So that's Gleaming the Cube. 28 Days Later, this is kind of like a little obvious, but post-apocalyptic
world.
I Am
Legendy.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, it's kind of similar. So post-apocalyptic world, no one's around to the end of this movie. There's no one around, right? And we got our heroes just walking around the empty streets of the city that they're in, right? Yep. Both movies have kind of dumb military dudes. 28 Days Later, they come across some military guys who are just kind of pieces of shit. In this movie, these military guys are pretty dumb. Yeah. They all end up dead at some point. Both movies have, it's kind of weird. The infection thing in this movie kind of turns people into zombies in a way, right?
In a way, yeah.
28 Days Later, we got zombies. I'm leaning more towards running zombies, which you don't see a lot of. In 28 Days Later, you had running zombies. In this movie, they were running around, they're doing kung fu. So, which is so ridiculous.
Because they're not really zombies. They're under control by the...
Yeah. Well, there was like some shots like, they're just kind of zombies, like they're not humans anymore, right? They're just zombies, right? So, and then 28 Days Later, it's all about an infection, right? It spreads and turns people into zombies. Like this movie, we have little creature bugs that infect people and turn them into these like quote unquote zombie things.
That all checks out.
I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
Beauty. Well, great work.
Yeah, I think we did good there. We done good. So
going to be impressed.
All right, man. I don't know. You ready? Let's tear this thing apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overboard. Yeah. I make a movie. It's no good.
Oh no. We have German listeners. I'm sorry.
It's too late. You gave us overboard. Overboard.
It's inevitable.
All right. So what do we do with this opening here?
Read it to the listeners, because this way they can get set up for they'll just know the whole story, so that way when we gloss over things
it'll be fine,
they'll
right?
be like, oh well, I know the plot, they get it already.
So this movie comes in hot with an opening scroll, whatever, text crawl, right? Not like Star Wars, but not like Star Wars at all.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly like Star Wars.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
I'm going to do my best. Now, here's Russ reading to you, our listeners. Just sit back and a little ASMR type thing. Just sit back and enjoy the words from my voice. In 1967, mine workers discovered the first remnants of a long-lost Native American civilization, the Abkhani. Abkhani? Yeah,
Abkhani.
Yeah, it's okay. The Abkhani believe there are two worlds on this planet, a world of light and a world of darkness. 10,000 years ago, a long time ago, the Abkhani opened a gate between these worlds. Before they could close it, something evil slipped through. Now, this is video game, right?
Yeah, this all makes sense. And that's
that tracks the video game, right?
Yeah, one of the things I hated the most about this was that they say this, and then they're like, nothing. Actually, the government created the monsters. And you're like, 10,000 years ago? What?
What?
So many plot holes. This movie makes no sense. But yes, that's more like the video game. Yes.
There's more, by the way. The Abkhani mysteriously vanished from the earth. from the Earth. Only a few artifacts remained. Artifacts weren't introduced earlier, but hey, hidden in the world's most remote places. These artifacts speak of terrifying creatures that thrive in the darkness, waiting for the day when the gate can be opened again. Bureau 713, the government's paranormal research agency, obviously, was established to uncover the dark secrets of this lost civilization. Under the direction of archaeologist Lionel Hudgens, Bureau 713 began collecting Abkhani artifacts.
What a ridiculous premise.
There's more.
I know.
I'm not done yet. When the government shut down this controversial research, Hudgens built a laboratory hidden within an abandoned gold mine. There, he conducted savage experiments on orphan children in an attempt to merge man with creature. Hudgens' victims survived as sleepers, quote unquote, lost souls awaiting for the moment of their calling. Mm-hmm. That's the movie.
Yeah, so I think starting with the Abkhani mysteriously vanished, and then the rest of that I think is all not
yeah,
it's not canon.
Yeah, so I don't get how this is going to clear things up for people who didn't understand the plot of the movie. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, that's the opening crawl. It lasts about a minute and change, and it kept going. I was like, wow, this is going to keep going. Okay, cool.
Forever.
All right, so then we get the opening. We get production credits, companies, stuff like this. I didn't really check all the names on them, but production credits that kind of intercut with some kid running through the woods, right? We got cops or someone's shirt searching for him with the dogs and the flashlights. Flashlights are a big deal in this movie. And then through all that, we get the title card, Alone in the Dark.
And then I hate this because I think that clip is now, like from when, because the next title card is 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Which it's not 22 years ago before the kid running. It's the same period at the kid running.
So I great question.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Wait, hold on, because the kid is
freaking Christian Slater.
Yeah, it's Christian Slater. Oh, yeah. So okay, so that was happening, and then wait, yes. 22 years ago from that point. Then
no, that doesn't make any sense.
I thought the whole sequence was 22 years ago, but then
that's correct. The opening credits, is 22 years ago. Okay, right. And then the part where it says 22 years ago is the same as the opening credits. All right. That's why it's maddening. Put it at the beginning. Put it right at the beginning.
I mean, you spent a minute and a half like explaining the entire plot and all this bullshit exposition in the front. Just be like 22 years ago.
Easy peasy.
Oh, oofball. What are you doing? You're editing your own movies too. Jesus.
Yeah.
So this is like, this movie's gonna be very choppy. It's gonna be all over the place, but it's gonna be pretty quick, I think. So then we open an orphanage, right? And so this is 22 years ago. We got Doc Hudgens there, basically talking to the nun, sister Nancy there, or whatever.
Sister Clara,
yeah. Basically telling him, he's like, yeah, it's all good. I'm taking these kids. So it's not done very well, but we already know he's experimenting on kids. So okay.
Yeah. She's like, no, we got to protect the children. And he's like, Clara, you don't understand. It's about the future of our species.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And then he's like, also, it's too late anyway. It's already started.
You're like, what? Why are you informing her then?
Yeah. And she's like, well, because she has to do the next part. He's like, okay, so you now call the police, tell them the children are gone.
Yeah.
Although, and then like some dude walks in and he's like, hey, boss, we've only got 19 kids.
There was a 20 count though. One's missing.
Yeah. One's missing.
Shit.
What?
And then we cut to the woods and we got like a weird POV cam shot of like a generator, and like the camera goes through all this stuff, and then we see a kid hiding out in like the generator shed or something, right?
Yep.
And then we cut back to the orphanage. We got the cops there, the sheriff, whatever, and talking to the nun, getting the details. Yep. And she's just like, and they just disappeared. And then we cut back to the generator, and the kid's like, we get a close up of his eye, and you see a reflection of like some monster thing in his eye.
Yep.
And then we cut to an airplane, and Christian Slater, Karin B there, just snaps out of a nightmare. Clearly, this is a memory of his, right?
Yep.
This interaction was so weird. So there's a kid sitting next to him. It was like, so Christian Slater's in the aisle, then the kid's in the middle, and the mom's in the window. Mom is asleep, whatever. Yep. And the kid's just like, he's like, you have a nightmare? It's because you ate cheese with dinner.
What? Yeah, cheese gives you, I almost pulled that as a quote. Mom says cheese gives you nightmares. Like,
what is this? Coming out of the gate, this is great. And the kid is the worst actor of all time.
My mom says there's nothing to be afraid of in the dark.
And Christian Slater is basically just like kind of a total asshole that came like, yeah, it's good. Fear keeps you alive. And the kid's like, I think there's vampires and I'd like to live in my closet. And mom says, don't believe in that stuff. And Carnby's like, it's because they don't know the truth. And then we cut to open seas transition. We got a boat on.
Yeah.
And then we have the old guy. It's Hudgens now, right? Hudgens.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's just talking on the phone. He's like basically just telling, some bad dudes like, just get the artifact and then kill him. Carnby is what he means.
Presumably.
And then we cut back to the airport and we get voiceover. I'm like, what? And I love how he immediately addresses the thing. I was just like, man, he was such an asshole, that kid. And he's like, I bet you're thinking I was a total jerk to that kid. I'm like, okay.
Yes, I prefer when the main character addresses me, the audience.
Like who's he talking to? Why is this a thing? Like, why? Like, he's always breaking the fourth wall. Like, why?
He's like, personally, I think it's okay to scare kids because someone needs to. And you're like, what? I don't. And then he like gets in a taxi.
Yeah.
And then some guy in a taxi follows them. Like, that's where this is now. The whole movie is really getting into swing.
Oh my goodness grace. Yeah. And there's a bunch of exposition about him. He's like, hey, I learned the truth a long time ago. At 10, I lost my memory, blah, blah, blah. All this bullshit. So yeah. He gets in the cab.
I'm here to protect you from the things you don't believe in.
All right. Relax.
Oh my God. Go fuck yourself.
Oh my God. And we're in a cab ride and we got this really talkative cabbie. He's just kind of like, he's like, hey,
so
man,
much more exposition.
Yeah, so much more exposition. He's like, so what do you do? And he's like, you don't want to know what I do. He's like, nah, man, it's cool. Tell me what you do. It's fine. It's the best part of the perk of the job. And he's like, I'm a paranormal detective. And he explains the whole thing. I'm like, oh my God.
And he's like, I got enough baggage for the both of us. Trust me. You're like, what? He's not even asking about that.
And then he's like, by the way, I pay attention to things like someone's following this car.
Yeah. Well, and then I love the immediate shift. So then, like, instead of the guy being like, what? And like a reasonable person being like, oh my God, like, you think that person's following us? Like this paranoid weirdo in the back.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like, you want me to lose him? He's like, wouldn't mind it.
And the kid's like, let's do it. So this kid is all in on like going in this car chase basically and losing this person in his cab. And it's just a really bad, then it's like 3, 4, 5 minutes of just a really bad car chase scene.
Yeah. And the music is ridiculous. It's wicked funny.
Oh my God. But then it's funny because like then in a car chase scene and the other yellow cab hits this kid's rear end and then he starts freaking out about it. He's like, oh man, it's my car. I was like, but you were just
my insurance won't pay for this.
Dude, if you're not ready to get bumped when you're in a car chase, then don't offer to go in a car chase. Like, do you understand this? You cannot be upset about this. So then like this chase is so bad. And then I don't know how they got in this position, but then the car with Carnby and the kid like it spins sideways and crashes into like a fruit stand or something like that.
Yeah, because Edward's in the back and he's like, hey, pull into that market. Wait, don't drive into the market, you sicko. Like
why would you do that? So they wipe out, right? And then like the bad dude like pulls his car all the way back and we get the old close up of the rear wheel spinning, like he's building up the momentum to like smashing the car. And he's like speeds towards the car.
Sonic the Hedgehog rules apply.
So the car's like speeding towards him, and I love Carnby's just like stay low, man. And he jumps out of the car like at just before the
And this is the start of too much slow mo. The whole next scene is going to be slow mo, and then some. And then they also kind of never do it as much again the rest of the movie. But like the next 10 minutes of me and Russ talking about stuff, just imagine. Almost all of it's in slow-mo.
Pretty much. So then we're like in the streets of this market, right? And we got this bad dude who weird, like he gets out of the cab, he just smashes into the side of the cab and he just runs away. And I was like, and at first I was like, oh, he's just taking off, he's escaping. Or I was like, but okay, whatever. Yeah. And then Carnby, it's like the scene from the trailer, him like walking the streets, like looking around trying to find this guy. And then the guy jumps off of like a bridge and on top, like what why you...
Which is also in slow-mo.
And then they fight for a second, and Carnby gets a nice little roundhouse kick right to the guy's chest and sends him through a window, right? A shop window.
Yep. So you get one smashing window with so much slow-mo.
Oh my God.
And then another minute later, another window goes down.
But it's like this, none of this action makes any sense. And Carnby like takes off, like I think he's escaping as well. But then he's like hanging out in the crowd, like waiting to see if the dude is alive or if he sees him. I don't know. It's very strange. And then the guy spots him, and then Carnby runs into like another shop, and the guy jumps through the window. Like, you said the secondary window crash, and
this is the next window.
Like,
it's awesome. It's all slow mo. Everything is slow mo.
And then we got a shop fight. They're fighting, right?
Right. He like headbutts Edward and takes the artifact out of his pocket, and you're like, oh, all right, well, this guy wins then.
Party over.
But then, nope. Then it's like slow mo. Edward just like takes it back and smashes a bottle on the guy's head. What? And then they both leave this room. Like they're both running away now. And Edward steals a gun from a cop.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that move.
I need this more than you. And like beats a cop slightly, takes his gun. And then the guy that he was fighting knocks out that same cop like a minute later in a different part of him. It's maddening.
And then they end up in like an ice house, like an ice, right? Like a right?
Yep, an ice processing factory or something.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, so then they fight more in this, like, whatever. Oh, actually, before they fight more, the guy's running towards the ice shop, and then we get the slow-mo gun bullet close-up move, where the camera zooms into the barrel of the gun, right?
Yeah, Edward shoots him in the chest before this first, and he just doesn't do it. Like, nothing happens. He's like, all right, cool.
Shakes it off and keeps moving, yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the slow-mo, zoom in on the gun barrel, POV bullet through an ice block.
Oh my God. He takes 2 shots, and like it's like all slow-mo, and it goes through the entire crowd and hits the guy in the chest again.
Incredible.
And then they fight in the ice house there, and they're just fighting, and he throws him on like the little conveyor thing, whatever, and he brings him out to the edge, like he's going to throw him over, and Carnby does the old flips him over, and guy lands on a stake, and he gone.
All in super slow-mo.
All in super slow-mo. Oh my God.
And like, meanwhile, there's like a crowd here, you would think, but instead he just like catches his breath for a second. He's like, oh, phew.
Like, what the
And then it's like, cut to museum.
And this is where we meet Aline Cedric, right? Cedric.
Yep.
And this is where we get the delivery guy, the hero of the movie, really. Security guy. We meet security guy Bob, who's in the trailer, and delivery guy, and he shows up with a crate. And delivery guy is like, this is for, Doc Hudgens or Professor Hudgens, whatever. And Aline's just like, I'm taking care of all this stuff. I'll crack it open and log it, whatever, blah, blah. The security guard like gives like a ton of exposition right here. It's hilarious. Like,
well, here's the reason why Dr. Hudgens isn't here. Yada, yada, yada. Like, you're like, oh, okay, great. like, and then he's like, by the way, like, how's your missing boyfriend?
Oh my God. That was so ridiculous.
It's just so stupid.
It's like the dial. It's just so weird and so terrible. And then like she gives this look of like, why would you ask that?
And there's never any resolution for her missing boyfriend from 3 months. Like they never bring this. This never comes back.
Isn't it Carnby?
But I thought she said it had been years since she saw him.
I thought later
on.
I thought it was him because he was like, oh, I was away for 6, which the time doesn't really line up. But he was like, I was away for 6 weeks and disappeared in like the woods looking for the artifacts. So I was like, oh,
I thought he had disappeared for longer than that.
Well, he said 6 weeks later on. So I'm like, wait, that doesn't line up with 3 months. Like what's happening here?
Okay.
So,
all right.
But yeah,
I was correct to be confused. Thank you.
Yes, you were. Yes. Long story short, you were correct to be confused. Because I was too later on. Because I was like, wait, are they? Because she said 3 months and he's gone for 6 weeks. And I don't know. Anyways. So then like the security guard and the delivery guy have this kind of funny back and forth, like that lasts for way too long. And it's like they're just lingering on it. Like Aline takes the crate or whatever, and like the two of them are just lingering. The security guard's like, "Okay, you can go now." And they hang on it, and you can actually see the two actors like about to crack up, like laughing, like.
Yep. Well, because like the delivery guy's also just like, oh, "Nice going, jackass!" Like they just, I don't know, like the dialogue between the two of them in general is just like stupid and funny.
Yeah, it's like so goofy. And like, what is happening right now? Then we're back on the ship, right?
And the main like thief guy here who's like on like the boat crew that he hired apparently is like, oh man, like that thing shouldn't be disturbed, like because of like, I don't know, that we just don't touch stuff at the bottom of the ocean. And Hudgens is like, your superstitions are stupid, like that's why I'm in charge here. What?
All right. And then and look in the captain's face was priceless after he said that. He was just like,
yeah.
Oh
which God. Makes no sense in about 10 minutes anyway, because then in 10 minutes he's like, yeah, let's smash it open.
Yeah.
What?
So they get like a wide shot of like them pulling the crate up on board, right? And Hudgens just giving a creepy face, and he's all excited, and they check out the box, right? And then we cut to overhead city shot.
Yeah.
And we just have Carnby there walking in an alley by himself, and he's got kind of like he's got like senses like something's going on here. I haven't felt that since what's going on. And then he just walks into like a side door, and I'm so confused as to so this is where he lives, but it's like a giant warehouse in the middle of the city with like crates and like like stuff. Like
I don't know. Yes, apparently. So you were right. Remember in the trailer trash, you were like, "Oh, I think this is his fancy apartment," and I was like, "No way, dude. This is like a library or something."
We're both right. Let's agree to agree.
It's the most ridiculous like living situation. Like his bed is just in the middle of the room. He has like a huge king bed just like sitting in the middle of the room, and then otherwise it's like boxes of artifacts.
It's like the kind of place you think would be cool to live in, but you're like, no, this is terrible. This layout, terrible, horrible.
Yeah. It's like a bat cave, basically.
Yeah. But it's also like this massive warehouse because later on, like when they all show up, they're like going upstairs and downstairs. I'm like, so does he have access to all
like
of
a catwalk? Yes.
How much money does he have?
I couldn't tell you. And again, they never make it clear in the movie, but the video game is in Louisiana. So you're like, where the hell is this place?
Oh, yeah. So I think it's supposed, I don't know where it's supposed to be, but I know the movie is actually shot in like Montreal or something like that, or it's Canada. So
yeah. And like, I don't think, because in the video game that this is kind of loosely based on, that's supposed to be like in New England, like around Boston.
Okay.
But in the original video game is in Louisiana. So like,
I mean,
this could be anywhere. And they're like, oh, there's an abandoned gold mine near an orphanage that's like outside of the city that's next to this giant city. And you're like, what the hell is this? This doesn't exist in the United States.
This isn't real. Because like New England and Louisiana makes sense for paranormal activity to happen because we got witches or Louisiana, which, same thing.
But what makes no sense is abandoned gold mine for either of them.
Oh my goodness. So anyways, he checks his message and we hear his buddy John with like or was this John or was this Fisher? Who was this I called him? It was John I called him, I think here, right?
This John that calls him, yeah.
Yeah, with some like ridiculous New York accent or something like that, right? And
he's like, Eddie, it's John.
It's John. Hey buddy. You getting
the nightmare started again. You getting those too? All right, sees you later.
Thanks for queuing us in there, John. Oh my god! And then Carnby, he's like hanging out, just checking out his little artifact he's collected, right? And then we ship back to the ship at night. Night ship. Yeah. And they're gonna open that crate, right? And Hudgens like, no, man. Circumstances need to be perfect. We can't just be cracking this thing open, right? And then we get a bunch more exposition about the Abkhani. The crate is made of solid gold, and the captain's like, "Whoa, this is solid gold! Wow, what's gotta be inside? It's gotta be worth even more." And you see the ship captain's got like that greedy face. Yeah, it's like, what? Doing, man. So we cut back to the Carnby sweet ass apartment, right? And he's doing some heavy breathing while he's investigating the artifact, doing some research. He's got his blue gloves on.
Yep.
Using the old Anubis Glyph Reader 3.5 version 3.5, does some analyzing of the artifact.
Yeah.
All right. And we cut back to the ship, right? This is like how this works. It's just ridiculous how this cutting back and forth. And the captain's like, let's open this thing up. It's gotta be worth money. And he's like, Hudgens like, no, man. And then he's just like,
no, don't open it.
Forget you, buddy. And he hits him in the stomach, and his two goons grab him. He's like, throw him in the room.
He hits him in the stomach with a sledgehammer.
I know.
Like, this is an old man. Like, he's definitely doomed. Like, what are you like?
He just like
he's so much internal bleeding now.
You just ruptured something on him.
Yes, probably broke his ribs. Like, he's dead as hell.
And also, why throw him in the room? Just throw him over the boat. Call it a day. Like,
just kill him.
Yeah, just get rid of him. Just throw him over the boat. We didn't technically kill him. The water would have killed him.
Sure.
God damn it, Captain. Be better, Captain. So he throws him in the other room. They lock him in there, and Captain opens up the crate or the gold chest, whatever, right? And then something slips out. Something evil.
And then meanwhile, a quick cut to Edward at home, and he's like, "Oh, my headache."
Oh no, bro.
What? And they like show the artifact like glowing slightly.
Yeah, and he collapses too, right? He like falls over and collapses, so he's out for a bit. And then we cut to now. This is where this is gonna be very fast. So then we cut to John's apartment, and we know this because it's hilarious. But he just wakes up. He's kind of got the zombie look on him. He just leaves his bed. It's the middle of the night, and then the wife is like, "John," And she goes back to sleep.
John.
Then we cut to some like random woman in her apartment. She's making dinner and she just like,
like doing dishes.
Yeah, she just snaps to and leaves. And then we get a shot of like the sink overflowing with water because like art. And then we cut to back to the Carnby apartment. Yeah, that's like we see the artifact is glowing. And then we go to a video store. Listeners, if you're too young to know, there used to be these places where you would go and rent videos. And there's some guy just stocking shelves and he randomly snaps and becomes a zombie. And like all the customers like, what? Okay.
Okie dokie, bye.
See you, bud. And we're back in the ship, and Hudgens is inside the little room there, and all we can hear is just like gunfire and like basically murder happening.
An actual war happening, like right out, like on the boat. Like the amount of gunfire is absurd.
So much.
And Hudgens is like, ooh, what if I just like put a thing in front of the door? That'll keep me safe. You're like, what?
Oh my God. So yeah, he locks himself in, and then we cut to the museum. Like, man, this movie's all over the place. There's no breathing room for anything. So we're in the museum, and we got Lean there, Cedric there. She's working late, and she hears something, and she does the old like kind of touch the back of her neck, which comes back later, and it's really stupid. And then we cut back to John just walking down the street, and he just runs into some dude. I don't know why they need to show this. Like, cut this. I was like, why do we need this?
Well, I think it's another zombie, maybe. I don't know. He's just like bumping into people. They're just showing like, because they show a bunch of cuts of people just like wandering around in the streets, like all the zombies. And you're like, okay, cool. I get it. It's more than one person. Sure.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, we cut back to the ship.
Hudgens is like timidly just like walking around with this giant axe, and he like slowly opens the door, which you're like, a war just happened. Like, don't. Like, be careful.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And so he like opens the door, and there's just blood and bodies everywhere. Like every single person that was on the boat is dead at this point, except for Hudgens somehow.
Yeah.
And he goes over and like looks at the box, and it's empty.
Yeah.
Which like it looks kind of like plywood that they put some gold paint on.
And apparently he knows where there's a secret compartment in there. He's like, oops. I was like, how do you, what? You did?
The artifact.
Found it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, he grabs like another piece of artifact and takes off.
And meanwhile, like the woman's like screaming in the distance. Like there's just like these monsters apparently are going to go murder a ton more people. And he just like, whoop, I'm going to run away.
See ya. I'm like, where are you going to go? And he like runs off the boat. I'm like, okay. Yeah. All right. See you, bud. All right. So we cut to, we're at the Bureau 713 Bureau, right?
Yep.
The Stephen Dorff doing a little walk and talk with some dude. He's like, something's off, man. We did some Miles. Yeah, we did some analyzing, and he's like, what are we talking about, man? Burke. He's like, what are we talking about?
Strange things are afoot. Like we got the strange signal that measures this. Like 1 to 5 is like a badness of strange, right? Like 1 to 5 is pretty strange.
Yeah. But so what are we talking though? Well, machine only goes to 50. Like what? Like. Basically just stuff is happening. Okay, cool. And then we get the title card, Bureau 713, Agency of the Paranormal Investigations, which we know from the opening crawl that exists. So you could just be, it doesn't matter. Anyways.
Yep. And then meet up with like another woman there or something. They're like, well, we're recalibrating the instruments because we got to recalibrate. And and you're like, what? Who wrote this?
Yeah, and then we meet our tech crew who is going to be in this movie quite a bit actually for the rest of it. So and it's it's just oddly like I don't know why they're there, but they're scanning stuff, right? And they're like, electromagnetics is off the scale, Commander. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
He should have been chewing on a cigar and like, Jesus Christ.
No, it's not that kind of movie.
No. And then we come back to the museum. Eileen's there. She gets a call from Hudgens, and he's pissed. He's like, whoa, you open my crate, bro? Bro, you open my crate? What you doing? Get out my crate. She's like, well, I was going to do it anyways.
Well, I got a head start on analyzing it for you. And he's like, what?
Don't touch my stuff. And he's all mad and he hangs up, just being a jerk, condescending jerk. Then we cut back to the Carnby apartment right here, and we got quick flashbacks of him as a kid. Basically all the stuff from the beginning.
He has more nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the phone rings, and it's Linda, John's wife. And she's like, he's gone missing. Then he goes to her house, right?
Yeah. He's like, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Why? And where is any of this happening? Like, where is all this occurring?
Yeah. And I think there's like another city transition shot here, right? Doesn't he do more voiceover before he gets to John's house, I think, at this point?
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, some of the people joined forces with the creatures and got superpowers. And you're like, wait, what?
It's so funny how much he knows, but then later on knows nothing.
Yes.
Right? Like later on, he's like asking all these questions. Like, don't you know all this already? Like, aren't you the? But he's literally.
I think the narration's from the future.
Yeah, and he's literally telling us like the opening scrawl, like the opening crawl, like text, like more, like we already covered this. We can move this, and he's like, whatever. I got a bad feeling about this. And we end up at John's house, and he talks with Linda, John's wife, right there. And she's like, it's like he just got up in the middle of the night and walked out. I was like, no, that's what he did.
Yeah.
There's no like about it. That's what he actually did.
Yeah. She's like, where is he? Do you know? And he's like, don't worry, I'll find him.
Is he cheating on me? No. John?
It is too hot out to wear that trench coat, sir. Yeah. Let me tell you right now.
Right now. So then we get to like, he just takes some photos, whatever. He takes some stuff. He's like, I'll find him. And then we get a bridge transit. So this is like, they do this a couple times. I love this. They do like a bridge transition shot. So you see a car driving over the bridge, and then they do a phone call. But I love that they don't cut into the car. So like, he didn't have to be in the car. They didn't have to do all this stuff. So they just had him read it. And they do this later on with the helicopter ride. And it's hilarious because you're just watching a helicopter and you have this conversation between Burke and Carnby. You're like, why would they do this?
It's actually footage from Mr. Deeds.
Yeah. So he's like on the phone with his buddy from 713 there, Fish. Right? Fish, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Fish.
Yeah.
We haven't talked since I left 713. Like, they do a bunch of exposition. They're like, oh, yeah, you left 713, yada, yada. And he's like, well, my buddy John Dillon disappeared. Can you give me all the info you can on that guy? And Fish is like, I don't know, pal. Like, you're asking a lot.
They'll kill me.
I got to take this trip down to memory lane.
They'll kill me, but yeah, I'll do it. Like, what?
Yeah. Basically, he's like, take care, buddy. See you then.
He's like, I'll meet you
at the old spot or something.
Meet at the old spot. And then we cut to the orphanage. We're at the orphanage, and Carnby's like talking with the nun, and she's like, he tells her like John went missing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, stuff from the trailer. She's like, it's happening again. And he wants to find the others. He's like, hey, can you give me the files to all the other? So the one thing I'm curious about, this scene is the front of the orphanage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the cellar door that he shoots through at the end of the movie and comes out of is there. I think it's like a mistake in the movie, like because they're on the front of the house, and there's this thing isn't there. The kids are playing. I don't think it's there. And then later on when they escape out of the tunnel, I don't know. It's all stupid.
Yeah, like the bulkhead doors or whatever. Yeah,
it's like stupid. What? Why would those bulkhead doors just be there? And why'd no one be like, what's in there?
Yeah, and why would person who works at an orphanage just agree to give you all their files on the children? Like, that seems illegal.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's got some history with her, but I mean, I don't think you still can't just like, sorry, I can't just give you stuff. Like, that's not how this works. So we cut back to Carnby's apartment. He's doing some internet searching for the missing people, right? And then he's like,
back in his tank top,
calling people's homes and being like, oh, we're missing? Okay, yeah, okay, great. And then we get more voiceover about 713, and he got in there at 20 years old and learned a lot, blah, blah, blah.
Recruited when he was 20.
Yeah.
I was a good agent, but I wanted the truth.
Jesus Christ.
I realized I wouldn't get the answers I needed, so I had to quit. And I was like, wait, so did you quit if you quit like 6 to 12 months ago, like sometime in the last year, maybe, and you're dating this woman 3 months ago, and like you were 20 when you were recruited. How old are you now? Like, you look like you're in your 40s. Yeah. I don't
like, what is happening?
I'm so confused.
So confusing. And then we cut to like the outdoor city cafe here, and he meets with Fish here, right?
Yeah, he's like, hey, I ordered your favorite fish, and he's like, it's like pecans or something. You're like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, you remember pecans? And he's like, oh, you know me so well.
I love how he also orders him food, takes the files from him, and then just leaves them there.
Yes.
Thanks, bud. See ya. But we learned we learned a tidbit that all 19 people are missing. He's like, you know what's crazy though? They all grew up in the same orphanage as you, buddy. He's like, oh,
there's nothing in common except the orphanage.
That's not how you deliver information. And yeah, it's good to know I got some buddies at 713 still. And then we were back to the museum.
Yeah, and like they do this a few times when they introduce Tara Reid's character from here on out for some reason, where I think people are like, oh, it's not believable that there's any romance between Christian Slater and Tara Reid. Like,
oh God,
there's some like sexy saxophone music transitions, and like the music in this movie is horrible.
So bad. It's so terrible. So then a security guard shows up and he's like, hey, look who's here.
And she's like, Edward, and she hugs him and like, we missed each other so much. And then
she just
she decks him, like punches him in the face, like aggressively.
Then he goes on this whole like spiel about, he's like, I was in the Amazon for 6 weeks with his breathing. He's like, and then I ended up in Chile and it was fun hiding these artifacts. I'm like, what do you stop? And he's like, she's like pissed. She's like, why you could have called or like sent me a letter or something. I was like, what?
Yeah. And she's like, why should I even speak to you again? And he's like, check this out. Like whips out the artifact. And she's like, doesn't miss a beat after that. Like immediately she forgives him and she's like, oh, well, it looks like it's Abkhani. Seems like it's like she's like starts like making deductions about it. She's like, yes, like the inscriptions, of course, these make perfect sense. I'm not sure, but actually, let me tell you exactly what they say. Like they buried them at the ends of the earth. And she's like, I don't get it. If you want someone to solve a puzzle, why would you bury them at the ends of the earth? And you're like, the obvious answer is they don't want you to solve the puzzle. Right. Fuck, like, God
damn it. Oh my God.
Why would you write it like this?
What is happening? So then the lights start getting a little fuzzy, right? They start dimming down. And then we're, this is like a lot of stuff is from the trailer, just a little bit longer, right? So then we cut to the Rob security guard doing the old, hello, who's here? Like, dude, you're the security guard. You don't do that. He's just checking out the museum, walking around. We get a jump scare creature. It's all from the trailer, just like a longer scene.
Yep.
And we cut to Carnby and Cedric there. They're walking into like the main museum hall. A little back and forth.
My life always gets so complicated whenever you show up. And you're like, how often does this happen?
Yeah, and he's like, mine too. Like, what?
Yeah. Then we cut back to security guy, and it's like we're getting like monster noises now. It's like kind of growly, and like the lights are still flickering. And
then we cut back to those two walking around. He's like, what is it? She's like, the hair on the back of my neck just stood up. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And we cut back to Rob, and he just gets smoked by H.R. Geiger alien creature monster thing.
Yep, it's from the trailer with like the tail that kind of like sneaks up behind him.
You just actually see it this time, and that's okay. He's done. So, and then they find Rob. They come across Rob there, and they're like, shit.
This is when things start to accelerate in the scene because the monster roars, and like Edward and Aline here are like, what? And he's like pulls out his gun, and that's when they find Rob, and they're like, wait a second, the monster must be somewhere nearby.
Oh
and then
God.
They like run away
from
nothing.
Well, then they start running, and then the monster's like kind of behind them, smashing all the museum stuff. And
it's
just not
but
good.
Like way later.
Yeah. And then they hide out in like a storeroom, like a storage room or something like that, right? And then like the monster starts smashing the door, and he's like, lock the door. This is so goofy. He's like, lock the door. Put the key in the hole.
Hold it shut, basically.
I love how he's like telling her how to lock a door. He's like, put the key in the hole. She's like,
it's the only way to keep it out.
What?
Apparently
you can just lock these things out. That's all it takes.
He like just like blindly shoots through like this like door has a window for some reason where you can see the monster, and he just like shoots through the thing, and you're like, oh no. But it like manages to like get its little tail through or something, and like gets Eileen on the shoulder, and you're like, oh. What?
Okay. I guess. Eileen, whatever. And then we cut to back to the museum main hall, and just coming in like the soldiers they are, smashing through the ceiling.
Yeah, it was just like all of a sudden we get like helicopter noises out of nowhere. It's just like boom, 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 and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. And 713 is on the scene. They just like slide down in, like, oh my God, looking so goofy, right? And then we get a quick shot of our tech lady back at the 713 like headquarters. I'm like, what? Why are we going here? What's happening?
I don't. She's helping.
Yeah. And then literally we cut back to the museum, and the 713 agents are just absolutely destroying the museum with gunfire and shooting the monster. Just absolutely littering the entire place and just taking everything down. And we get Commander Burke. He shows up on scene, just dishing out orders, right? He's like,
I want a full security sweep. And they're like, what?
Yeah. Tell Fish I want his boys down here. And there's just so much gunfire, just more gunfire. It's absolutely crazy. And then Commander comes in. They're like, it's all good, boss. Scanners are clear. There's a lot of mentioning of scanners and being clear. So we know there's no monsters around. It's like, okay, whatever. Oh my goodness. And then we get Burke and Carnby chatting away here, kind of bros just broing off, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. And they kind of fight briefly, like kind of, rah, 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 rah. But it was a whole thing because Carnby stole Burke's ID or something, right?
Burke's like, you soft now? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm super soft. Sick.
Oh my God. And then, so then he pops outside, checks in with Aline, and she's like, I need to go study those artifacts. I'm like, what?
Yeah. The medic's like, she's all clear. She's all clear. You're like, wait, she just had like a shoulder wound from the. Yeah, all right. And she's like, yeah, I gotta go back inside and get my artifacts and study them.
Like, what? The museum is trashed. Like,
yeah. And he's literally just like, all right, well, I got stuff to do too. See you later. And then they just like part ways. You're like, oh, okay.
And she goes back inside, and Burke is like, whoa, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to get my stuff. And he's like, do
you not see all of this?
This is shut down. Like, this is a crime scene. We're shutting this down.
There's 1,000 casings from all the bullets we just fired. Like,
oh my God. And then like Burke looks at the sidekick woman there, and he's like, go keep an eye on her or whatever. Right. And then we're in like the 713 like autopsy room.
Who knows? It's like Fish's office, basically.
He just digs people up, right? And then this is where we see him digging into like the bad guy from the beginning of the movie that what's his face had killed. Carnby had killed, right?
Yep. He's like, you shouldn't be here, Carnby. And he's like, I'm not here. Agent Burke is.
Yeah. Like, God. We got what do we got here? And he's like, yeah, we got Agent James Pinkerton. Really? Pinkerton? Really? That's the God damn it.
He went missing in action 20 years ago. And you're like, wait, he looks like he's like in his mid-30s.
His last name is Pinkerton. I hate this. So now I'm getting angry.
Yeah. And he's like, why was he trying to kill me? Like, this is back to your point of like, Edward knows nothing all of a sudden out of nowhere. It's like, why do you think he was trying to kill me? And he's like, well, it's probably related to this thing fused to his spinal cord. Like, what? Like, none of this is from the video game.
He's just quickly making like very fast deductions here. With zero information. So he pulls some.
Speaking of, like, after he pulls the thing out of the guy's spine, he's like, I don't know, I pulled it out of that guy's spine, but the scanners are still giving a reading.
Oh my God!
My God, you've got a reading. Why are you just jumped the gun way too fast,
way too quick? So then we cut to the museum office. Leave us in a cliffhanger there.
Yeah,
back in the museum, Hudgens shows up and he's just like. So at first I was like, wait,
how did he get in?
Yeah. I was like, I thought this place was locked down. Like, what's going on right now? He was
just on a boat somewhere.
There is no consideration for time in this movie at all either. No. So he talks to Cedric a bit, and Hudgens is like, where'd you get that image from? Because he spots like her doing some analysis, whatever. And then like just the 713 lady security guard, she shows up and she's like, I'm her security detail, whatever. And he's like, do you know who I am? And she's like,
yes.
Well, she lists out that he was a former 713 agent because like to give us like right to set up that. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, I hate this.
It's so stupid.
It's so terrible. Like so much exposition. Like, I know who you are. You're blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, really?
And he's just like, okie dokie. I'll pick this up tomorrow then. What? And then Aline is like, oh, by the way, did you find the Erebus? And he's like, nope. No Erebus here. Just another wild goose chase. Crazy, right?
Like you said, that's kind of wild, huh? God damn it.
So believable.
Yeah, and then we're back at the autopsy room here, and Edward's got one of these little creatures inside of him, but
so much more exposition. Yeah.
So much more exposition, but the little thing inside of him is dead because he got electrocuted as a kid.
He literally is like looking at like an X-ray of it on the scan thing, and he's like, well, it looks dead to me. Why don't we just leave it alone? Are you a doctor? Like,
he's like, I can take it out, but you might be paralyzed. And he's like, hey doc, let's just leave it in.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think I like that, doc. Let's just leave it in. Oh my God. So then we're back at Dr. Hudgens' office, right?
Yeah.
He's got one of these,
he's like,
got one of these
creatures growling.
Yeah. And he's got one of these creatures all caged up, and he stabs and takes a blood sample out of it. And he shoots himself up with it.
Yeah, which also never comes back. They don't address it ever again.
So he's getting juiced up, I guess, with fucking monster blood. Like, what?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Then we cut back to Edward and
the autopsy.
an exposition land here.
Oh my
He's
God.
like, well, they're called Xenos. They showed up 2 years ago. Gold negates their ability to mess with electricity. They do a lot of messing with electricity. And I built this tracker that's calibrated to track their disruption field. So you'll know, not necessarily if they're right near you, but like you'll know that there's one in the vicinity. But only certain light frequencies can hurt them. Just so you know, in case you're using a flashlight, you might want a super powerful flashlight. Also, I have bullets covered in luminescent resin, phosphorus. Like you'll need them. Like this is going to be the only thing that can kill the animals. And he's like, I'm going to need a lot of these. Like that's the whole scene.
Like all of a sudden, Fish became like his cue for James Bond, right? Like here's all your cool gadgets, and like explains everything. All right, and moving on. And also,
one more thing.
Oh my God! And then we cut to Carnby's apartment there, right? And maybe we get this elusive voiceover that just pops in, I guess, whenever it wants to, and talking about the man that attacked him, right? And he's like, okay.
Seems like everyone's after this artifact. I guess I better hide this artifact. And he's like, out of nowhere, he's just like rips off his shirt and like aggressively takes off his belt for some reason and nothing else, and then like falls asleep in jeans on the bed, and he's like, ugh.
And that's it. And he crashes. Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. And I think that's where we're crashing too. So that's it. Part 1. Wrapping it up. Let's tighten this up. Who knows if these monsters are real? Who knows if anything is real? Who knows what is even happening? Is there going to be a metal song in the middle of this with some gunfire? Probably.
You betcha.
You're going to find out in part 2. So thanks for listening. We'll be back on Thursday with part 2. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at It's This Meets That. We're ITMT Pod on the site formerly known as Twitter. Subscribe wherever you're listening. YouTube. Share with a friend.
Yeah. Or share with a stranger and write us a review. 5 stars would be nice. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're allowed to review things. Say something nice about us. Yeah. If you want to send us something mean, don't do that on a review site. Send us an email instead. It's thismeetsthat@gmail.com. We'll read them in trailer trash like we always do. Or you can go to the website. Find more information about the podcast, all the old episodes, hundreds of hours of content, t-shirts. There's a link to buy ITMT merch if you're into that sort of thing. Like we are. Buy Russ's book, Host, wherever you get books.
Do it.
More information about that too at itsthismeetsthat.com.